behalf of Lafitte, and I'm hoping the federal government will acknowledge some of that responsibility and see what they've done to us and try to help us. If I take you on the boat on the Intercoastal right here, 2.5 miles up, you're going to see the largest pump in the world. Every 4 seconds it pumps an Olympic-sized swimming pool, and it pumps directly onto us. It doesn't only compromise. I mean, it has potential to end my town.
We have areas in Jefferson Parish, what we call outside the levee protection system. These are our southernmost areas. Grand Isle is right on the Gulf, and then here's Lafitte. That really are our most vulnerable areas of the parish because they just don't have the levee protection system. They're not protected by the pumping capacity. They don't have that perimeter defense, and also they're very vulnerable to storm surge as well.
Surely, when you look at southeast Louisiana, towns like Grand Isle, in parishes like Lafourche and Terrebonne, they're concerned that they're going to be left behind too. I'm going to be fighting to make sure they're not left behind. But it's a valid concern that gets raised in times like this.
It's not that they're expendable. It's, when you're looking at it from a federal perspective and you're looking at the country as a whole and there's a limited amount of dollars, what you need to do is find that manner in which you're getting the best bang for the taxpayers' dollars nationwide. That's not to say that there can't be state, local, or even other federal programs that can help in that area. But it is a consideration that you have to consider the nation as a whole.
We lost inside the levee protection by inches. According to the gauges, that pump has increased our levels. We lost our schools, our government buildings you see behind us, and hundreds of homes. So I want them to take some responsibility and invest in here because we're not going anywhere.
With the west closure, after every storm, especially a major storm of this magnitude, we want to learn the lessons. We want to do things better. And so we will evaluate. Once we have all the data, we can put it in modeling to understand really what happened, not only in Lafitte, but throughout the areas outside of the system. So we'll be working on that, and we'll have that data as soon as we can.
You give this Cajun boy $50 million, I can show you what we can do to save our people. We need more rocks on the coast. We like the soldier in the rock, we're in the front line. If them rocks would have been on that area, 3/4 of the island would have been protected.
With regards to Grand Isle, we are committed to using the funds we do have to put those breakwaters in. Right now, what we want to do is we want to look at a full suite of all opportunities. I wouldn't say, we're looking at something like a feasibility study in which you're trying to determine whether there's a project there. We're looking at it from what's the best project to put in place, and we are considering, a sand dune, maybe a clay dune, or a rock. And so those are all going to be considered.
I just don't have time to study no more. Just come in and bring barges of rocks, and where they got to be, just put 5 of them at a time. It worked in that corner, just continue. I need 32 segments.
It seems like any member of Congress you talk to, Republican or Democrat, they've got some kind of frustration with that relationship on the ground with the Corps of Engineers because of how projects work and come out of Washington with a lot of red tape, and yet it seems to work differently on the ground. In a place like Grand Isle, if you're putting protection in place there, it's not just to protect Grand Isle. Grand Isle is a barrier island. And so everything behind it is protected if you protect Grand Isle.
16 years ago, George Bush came in and built levees following Katrina. Now I'm asking President Biden and the United States delegation to come 16 years later and come finish the job. Come right those wrongs. Come protect us.
I'm not giving up. As long as there's 1 grain of sand on this island, we're going to plant the American flag and we're going to stay strong.